Testy, 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 testy. Testy, testy, testy. Testy, testy, testy. Inviting Lorne. Let's get disco fries. Let me know about the audio. What's up, everybody? Testing out some new audio. Mic test 1 2 Alpha Love music. Can you hear me? Devlex. Howdy, partner. Adding. Let's see. JBM McDaniel.
G'day.
Yo, guys.
We have two friends. It's very impressive.
Guys, I got a nice new mic here.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that.
What do you use, Lauren? Are you on like your internal mic or something, or you got something off to the side?
Let's see. No. As always, all is good. I'm just speaking down.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I hear you. That music's a little hot.
That's
love
good.
this
That's
group, though.
Where's our?
Am I right?
How can we have two Kramers and not even one JB McDaniel?
I know,
JB
right?
is not here
He's
yet.
invited.
Not here. Oh, there he is. He just popped in the back.
There he is.
There you
This
go.
is exciting. Yeah.
JB.
Well.
Can you hear us?
Amazing. Yeah, he'll pop in. God, what
All
a
right.
great shirt.
That shirt is fantastic.
It's just straight clean fire, honestly.
How's the level? You like the background there, guys?
Yeah, right now it's very nice. Very nice.
How about this? Too hot?
That's
I
a little
like it
hot.
also.
Is that by Max for talking?
Love this track so much.
Me too.
So guys, two Kramers. Of course, two Kramers. Why would there not be two Kramers?
Well, I'm a dim mat Kramer today, so you should be happy.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Don't tell me it was wash day.
It's wash day. I actually stained
God
it.
dang it. I knew it.
Look at this. I stained it. I freaking stained it.
Yo,
What
I've
show did you
resorted
get
to.
that?
I haven't done laundry in so long that I resorted to just wearing bathing suits. And like, I have no clothes left, no underwear left, and I will wear bathing suits for the next few days until I get to it.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's where I'm at.
Sounds fun to me. So whilst we're figuring out JB McDaniel's microphone situation, we're loving his shirt. He's going to be our very, very special guest today. Very excited about that. And we don't have a Raquel Goldie today because she's busy working with some celebrities who are in town that she needs to figure out and how to make them even more popular. And Hess is indisposed. And yeah, this is our very regular Dope or Nope show, which means that we're going to have DJ Austin Kramer heading the decks, which is very exciting for me. And we'll be giving special comments. And when we get JB in, he'll be able to give us some of his expert suggestions as to what to do when you've taken break from working for 30 years at the same job. And
So
I'm very
crazy.
excited to find
Legend.
out. I know. So he
crazy.
just finished working at KNHC in Seattle, C89.5, and yeah, we're very interested to find out what he's been doing and how much beachside he's been buying up along the coast, and if he's been flying out to Hawaii, where he's originally from, and very excited to hear about that. But perhaps A-Town, you want to go into what we've got in store today? We've got a bunch of demos that we haven't listened to, so we don't know what we're exactly listening to, but we have some names.
Yeah. We got tons of tunes, y'all.
Tons of tunes. Well,
By
this
the
is
way,
good.
we'll be listening to this one while we're talking for the rest of eternity. It is
Good.
a track called Imaginary Days by Sonics P.
Oh, yeah.
Sonics P with a K and 2 S's. So
And a silent J. It's really great for as a bed. It works.
yeah, it's perfect for a bed. So on to a track here. I had one lined up just for JB, but since he
Yeah.
can't hear us and talk, I'll wait on that ID. It's a special ID. But yeah, until we get to that one. Let's kick off with Mike Bond, friend of the show. He's got two here. I'm gonna go with his harder one. It's a tad hardstyle to me. Mike Bond and Richie Loop. This is called Left Right.
Get some volume.
Everybody start get hard, crazy, hard, crazy, hard, crazy, hard, crazy. To the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. Go back, go back. Everybody start. Start that crazy.
If you want the breakdown,
Don't stop, get it, don't stop, move it, don't stop, get it, don't stop, you can do it, don't stop, get it, don't stop, you can do it, don't stop, get it, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, now jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, go back, go back, go back, go back.
Nice one.
Right side, head crazy. Move it to the right, move it to the left. Now.
There he
It's a
is.
very, very long play, but very, very good play.
Indeed.
That's an extraordinarily awesome track. Wow. So good.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
really
love it.
nice.
I only have one critique on it.
Oh,
only
here it
one.
comes. Mr. Critique.
Oh, says the critique master. I want that vocal to be married to the record a little bit more as far as the mix. Right now, it feels like there's the vocal and there's the track, and they're a little disjointed, both from a mix perspective, but also there's some parts that rhythmically weren't like totally locked in as far as like the cadence with the track. And it's
Yeah.
just like a little bit of nudging. You might want to try like a hair side chain of the vocal to the track. And then some of it's effects, but it's mostly just like dialing in, like trying to marry those two together. I think the side chain should address it for the most part, and just make sure the groove's all locked in. But nice work.
Nice one. My only critique of it is that I did agree completely with you. I have to say, I did, and I still do. So I do agree. How's that? With you on that. But I'd also add that it would be nice if there was a slight pause or moment of like a beat of a break before the drop, because when it all kind of seems to like build and then rush straight in. There's no moment of silence or space or anything like that between the beats. So the beats just keep going, beat, 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 drop. There's no actual moment of pause, which means that when the drop hits, it feels like a continuation instead of a new moment. And I think it was just going to hit harder. It would impact you more and you get more wow factor out of it. So it's already very, very good, this song. Glue in the vocal for sure, but musically, I think it's excellent. Like, I would totally play this record out.
Glue in the vocal,
yeah.
is that Australian?
What's that, mate?
What I would say too about your,
Glue in the vocal, yes.
I like that idea of like the silence or like something. I feel like the instrumental broke right before the drop, but like the vocal kept going. But it would almost be cool if it built up and then went to silence for a second before you have that everybody stand up or whatever.
Oh,
just
yeah,
to
sure.
give it that moment. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wherever there's a break before the drop will make the drop hit harder. It almost always happens. So it's a winning song. It's a great way to start. And I wonder if we would be able to technically, on an audio and visual level, welcome JB McDaniel to the show. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
How's it going, guys? Great to be here. I'm sorry I missed the whole first track because my computer was kind of freaking out. So
I can't believe we got you for today. I thought you would be on an island, like on another planet, really, at this point, and just disappeared off into the sunset.
Right. Well, I couldn't really just do that because I love dance music too much, so I can't just ignore it. So, but it's great to be here. I'm glad to be filling in for George. And as you can see, I got the memo about the non-distractive top. So
yes, you did. Yes, you did. Very good.
Very nice.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, we were just curious as to what you do with yourself after you've like come off air for 30 years. What's next? Do you find yourself like move somewhere, or do you like buy up all the coastline along your
for
state?
sure, with
You
all
go
that
to
school
Hawaii?
district money that I made. A day around in my life now is just kind of getting things done that I haven't had a chance to get done, while having a 40 to 50 an hour per week job. So, so I'm just getting a lot of things done. I'm seeing a lot of friends in the region that I haven't seen since before the pandemic, and just sort of reconnecting with the other parts of my life right now.
Oh, that's really great.
It's been a lot of fun.
Whilst we have you at the in the top square, I think you should remain in the top square for the rest of the duration for our show, because you are our special guest, and you've got the loudest shirt, so you win.
I do.
But I would. It's like there's Austin, and then there's me, and then there's a combination of our color shirts, which is Nick's shirt, and then there's you, JB. So it's worked out great.
Standing out all by myself.
So for anyone who hasn't had the good fortune to meet John McDaniel, he's quite the legend in the US dance radio industry. He had been working on air and as a programmer for the music at C89.5 in Seattle, otherwise known as KNHC. For a really long time, it's like a college radio station, and if you're an Australian tuning in, as you should, then it's kind of like imagine Triple J for the whole country. Imagine like a college radio station that we have, but it's that Triple J is in Seattle, and it's very much a tastemaker station, of which a lot of other radio stations look at, and they continue to look at, as I wonder what's happening at radio and youth level, and we'll piggyback on that and pay attention to what we're going to do based on what John's going to do. So John was very surprised on a panel once about 5 years ago when one of the leading music directors in the country for one of the biggest stations, Geronimo for BPM, said, "Oh, I religiously pay attention to exactly what John does because that to me is an indication of what's coming." And I remember you were receiving that information, John, and you were like, "What?" You
Well,
were
right,
so
yeah.
surprised.
I had to pick my jaw up off the ground because I didn't even know that not only did he like what we're doing, but he, watched what we were doing and, made decisions based on that. So, we are officially, I found out on my retirement that we were officially the first radio station to play Calvin Harris in the United States.
Wow.
So that's kind of a thing, although Calvin
Yeah.
would never admit it, but that's cool. He's got his own things going on. So
Calvin's in the top 10 highest streaming artists in the world across all artists, not dance, not anything else. Just isn't that crazy to think that a guy who came out of dance music for sure and is now the top 10 highest streaming artist in the world, and started at KNHC Seattle, probably under your listening ear and going, this one sounds like it could be something interesting. Do you remember by any chance what the song was?
it was on that I Created Disco album.
Yeah.
It was Acceptable in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Great song.
Right.
Yeah. That whole album did really well for us.
Yeah, that's so great. Well, anyway, you've been across so many musical styles of how dance music has evolved, and we would love your opinion for this show, to listening to fresh new demos that are sent into dopeornotemusic.com, and we receive them through the week. They come into a form that Austin is now going to be DJing for the rest of our show. We don't know what that is. We haven't heard them, so we're listening and then giving feedback. We're not, the intention's not to ever sort of like take a dump on any of the tunes. It's literally to suggest what parts are good, what could be even some parts that are very low in the mix that is a really good thing. We say sometimes bring that out, and the parts that are missing to try to help the song elevate and help the artist become something. And a lot of songs from the show have gone on to become signed songs on Armada and on Lifted and on Dimmuck, so and on other labels, in fact. So we're excited to be a little bit of an embryonic start of people's careers as per your history, JB, at KNHC Seattle. So very excited to have you on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nick Dietrich from the Disco Fries, a studio aficionado, knows everything on music.
I don't know about that.
Not everything.
Yeah, he knows pretty much everything on music. He knows everything pretty much on production, and he's got a label head, so he's got a really great swathe of skills. And Austin Kramer is head of radio for Tomorrowland and puts out an unreleased show. It's called Unreleased with Austin Kramer on Mondays. And yeah, I'm the vice president of Dimmuck, and I've been DJing and producing for many years, and I have many opinions. So to that point, Austin, if you'd like to kick it off with another tune, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I got a special ID for you, JB, okay? This is made especially for you. We don't know the artist.
Whoa.
And this is the first listen. Are you up for the challenge?
I'm up for it.
Let me know.
Why
Here
I
we
got
go.
up today.
All right.
This is exciting.
I fall for it every time. Sweet talking through the heartache. I don't believe in second tries, but I still have the keys to your place. I would lose myself if I ever lose you. No one being judged with the things I choose to do. Feeling cracks in the eyes, but we never fall through. 'Cause I know, yeah, I know you. You can't take back your love. I can't pretend I've had You don't deserve to have my touch, but I don't want nobody half as much.
Sounds familiar. Sounds really familiar.
Sounds familiar.
I've heard
Do
this
tell.
a few times.
A few.
Am I letting the cat out of the bag?
Yeah.
Before you do, maybe JB, you can just give your opinion.
About the song itself, or was I supposed to recognize this?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay, good, because I don't. But I did think it was pretty good. I mean, it sounded just like, the kind of song you could hear, on KNHC or any other dance radio outlet. It has good energy. I think the vocals were good. It kind of has a lot of appeal to radio as far as I'm concerned. I probably would have popped it in for a test spin. So
Yeah, right. Nice. I
Nice.
had a lot of notes on this one.
Well, I'm glad it's delivered already.
So I guess I had started writing all my notes, and then I've seen in our little private chat that comes up and it says, "Oh, this is a Disco Fries remix," and I'm like, "You bastard!"
No, this is our remix of Vic and D-Rock, and the originals actually was in test spins, and I heard through the grapevine that it got added, or it's getting added. So thank you for those kind words. But this mix comes out August 5th, so next Friday this will be out. So we finished it last weekend, and we rushed it through the system to get it out quick.
I see. So not quite the
Congratulations.
demo at all.
Shout out to Harmony in the chat.
I see.
Yep. she can
Very
confirm
nice.
it. Yeah, nice.
Okay, great. Well, then I'll just delete all my notes. Great
No,
job.
I gotta hear him. Let's hear him.
Let's hear him.
I was really surprised by it. I was like, this is really awesome. I'm like, this vocal's really great. Extremely tight bottom end, great bass line, excellent drums. Aggressive synth in the first drop, second drop, smooth is great. So I didn't know if there was a difference between the two. Bass line and build could have some more depth, but on these speakers you can't quite tell whether the bass is meant to be tight as the 1/8 note thing or whether it's meant to be more of a drone. And it was only towards the end of the build I'm like, oh wait, it is doing its own little thing. So I had a bunch of positive things to say about it, not knowing
I'll
that it was
take it,
yours,
Lauren.
Nick, but here we are.
I'll take it from you. I'll take it. No, it was fun too, and I want to get into the new music quick because I know we're limited on time. But I'll just note that that's a sound that we did, obviously, like in the early, 2010, 11, 12, and was responsible for getting us kind of on the map with Tiesto and a bunch of bigger artists early in our career, and we haven't done it in a while. So it was fun to kind of revisit that progressive house sound, and I think we're going to do a lot more of it. It comes to us really naturally, and it just felt good to do again. So
Yeah, it's
Nice
good.
one.
It was good.
I don't
good
think
song.
that goes away. So that's fun.
Okay, back to actual demos. Austin Kramer, you joker.
Oh
You-
my. Oh me, oh my. Okay. Michael Feel and Aleko. This is called Moon.
Cool.
Michael Thiel and Aleko Moon. Cool record.
JB, you're up first.
Got a really nice vibe. The whole intro of it with that keyboarding sort of set the tone for the whole track as far as I go. So I really liked where it went. I liked that little breakdown that added extra texture to it. Keeps it very interesting, and I think that's kind of difficult sometimes on instrumentals. To sort of keep it vibing. And I think this one sounded really good. So nice and bouncy. I like the texture.
Nice. There you go. For what it's worth, I thought it was excellent. I felt like it was a great instrumental bed for a writing demo to become an actual track in the breakdowns in between the drop. Like the drop itself probably didn't really need too much vocal, maybe like little snippets, but certainly the sections in between just literally felt like a space for a vocal, as if it was purposely built that way. I wrote some notes. Oh yeah, respect for the yeah sample buried in the background at the start of the first breakdown. Very sneaky, but Shazam shouldn't catch it. You should be fine. Really great pluck bass that's running through the drop. Like the drop's just excellent. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. It's so strong. It sounds expensive.
Yeah, you like expensive instruments, don't you, Lauren?
Yes.
He's big on the expensive sounds.
Big fan. I have a sticker right here at the top of my MacBook says, "Does it sound expensive?" to keep reminding me to make sure that whatever I'm like leaving my computer and goes out to the world as either QC or produced or co-produced or whatever, it has to sound like you can stand behind it in a year or 2 years, and it's not just for the moment.
Don't you have another sticker? Yeah, the other sticker. Is it compelling, right? That's the other sticker.
Yeah, compelling's on the speaker. That's a little bit easier to turn in front of the camera, but this one's going to be really tough. I'd have to literally pick up my laptop. It's going to be a mess.
So I love
the
vibe of the track. I thought it was great. The sound design was awesome. The build, I would take a look at the build. It could climax a little bit more. There's a really cool plugin, if you're not familiar, called Endless Smile from Dada Life.
Oof,
that you could throw on that build, and it's got all types of settings from like, enhancing it a little bit with some filters to going to the wall, and it's got risers and stuff built in, but it's really easy. It's pretty frictionless to use, so check that out. And then the drop, I felt like I had heard the drop already, so it was a little underwhelming when I got there. So I just wanted something to happen when I arrived at that moment, and that could be simple. It could be like effects. It could be, blowing out the synth a little bit more, changing the register of the synth. Just try some options there to differentiate that drop section from the intro of the track that happened.
Could it be white noise?
Could be. Could be.
Some kind of side chaining.
It's just
white
worth
noise.
taking a look at and playing around with it. I don't know what specifically it needed, but I just felt like it needed to be a little different than what already happened, or it's gonna feel a little copy paste.
Well, you could always sample some fly spray. Just get it going. There you go. There's your white noise. That'll work.
Nice.
What brand do you prefer, Lauren?
Brand of fly spray.
Yeah.
Peebo. Aussie stuff. Peebo.
There we go. Yeah, there were certain parts of the record to me that it didn't finish, like it didn't give me enough, and then there's certain parts, like I think the breakdown was probably too long for me for what it was trying to accomplish, or I don't want to speak on their behalf, but what seemingly they were trying to get forth. But overall, the production values, fire to me, big record.
Values fire. The build could definitely be shortened, I thought, and could use a little bit of help, but could even be a track that would be suitable candidate for finishmytrack.com.
Whoa, you said
because
it, not me.
here to plug it. We're 29 minutes in. It's about time. So,
really dope one though. Love the
pretty
vibe.
close. It's pretty close. It only needs a finisher. Imagine if you could find one of those.
Next up is Lucian with a V, so it's Lvcian. It's called The Biggest Problem. I think this is the first or second track that I've seen submitted to the show, so what's up, Lucian? Okay, let's go.
That's probably not going to happen, but that's my dream.
Breakdown. Pretty chilly. I call that a chilly willy. What do you guys think?
The old Chilly Willy, eh?
Over to JB. Let him kick it
Well,
off.
I was just gonna say it kind of has a nice summer feel to it, which is good because it's the middle of summer. Yeah, it's just super laid back and almost like the kind of thing you'd hear walking into a really cool, like ultra lounge or something. Yeah, I mean, for what it is, it definitely has some good texture in there, and yeah, I mean, it just sort of just it's just kind of there. Let's say that I don't know. I mean, I was gonna in the last song you guys were talking about how you could add vocals to that last track. I don't know if this is a candidate for that, but it's got a really nice just overall feel to it.
Yeah, I would add to that and build on it, JB, by saying that it's just a really beautiful record that would be fantastic with vocals. Like, imagine if you had like some really smooth Sade-esque female
Took the words
vocals
out of my
over it.
mouth.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Just something soulful and where the vocal become the hero, I would say, and then the music behind it, you wouldn't be mad at it, and you'd be almost like, wow, this is just a great little journey. It feels like you're floating along whilst the vocal is actually taking you down a story and creating something of meaning. So yeah, I would say it really feels like it's a track that's dying for a really sweet, peaceful, kind of soulful voice, not too pop, not too squeezed, skinny kind of EQ, something that's got some depth into it, and it's smooth. I think it'd be really nice.
I think your Sade call was right on. I think she totally would elevate this track.
Yeah.
One thing I feel like that's underutilized, we've only done it a handful of times, but it works really well as just an alternative. Like, if you're not doing a full song, keeping this vibe up through the break and then having the vocal come in almost halfway through the record. So you're instead of changing the instrumentation, your texture change or your thing that keeps people engaged is the vocal, but it doesn't happen until halfway into the song. It's kind of a unique trick in this style of record that works really well.
Lauren,
Something
you
to
use the
think
word
about.
hero quite often, I noticed.
Try to. Yeah, I mean, I think that there needs to be the brain can only really figure out one or two things at the same time. So if you have too many
Hey, that's
melody
an insult,
brushes-
partner.
Musically, it's very true. You can only let me try this. The brain can only follow one or two things
stupid or something?
at the same time. I think that very often you want to find one particular element in a song, whether it's a lead or a vocal, and make that the actual focus. and I think that the word hero I kind of landed on a couple of years ago as me trying to explain to a vocalist about how we want to make her vocal the hero of that moment and have everything else kind of like support it instead of her competing with the track. So that's what I meant.
Is it because you liked Afrojack's track Hero so much?
Yes, I do.
Maybe?
A lot. I almost had a lot to do with that song. That was originally sung by Ellie Goulding, and I have the Ellie Goulding version on my computer, and it's awesome.
I believe you played it for me a
Oh,
long
yes.
time ago.
So I did, many moons ago, back in Amsterdam.
Quick,
Yeah.
quick thing on Instagram. Studio One Agency said our original vocals better to use than Splice sample pack vocals.
Always.
So, always original vocals are better to use. That said, there's a lot of awesome vocals on Splice. They're great to use. If you find one that nobody else has touched, of course, have at it. And they're a great foundation to build around. That said,
Yeah.
everybody, almost every producer has Splice at this point. So the likelihood that you're the only one using that vocal is slim to none. So it's definitely better to seek out an original vocalist and write something from scratch.
Yeah, plus
Yeah.
everyone here is open to sing on a track. If you got a track, you got 4 vocalists right in front of you right now. Well, 5 if you count me twice. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You're in. JB, when do we expect your first feature?
I can't talk about it right now.
Okay. All right.
Papers that need to be signed,
Got it. Fair
things
enough.
like that.
That's understandable. All right. Well, Nick, we know that you've put your backing vocals on probably every track, so there's
Actually,
Have you?
I have
a
a
good
claim to Danny and I have a claim to fame. If nothing else, we did vocals on one of the Tiesto records. It's called Chant. It's Tiesto and Disco Fries called Chant, and it's on one of his Club Life albums. And
Yeah.
we sang the sample and then resampled ourselves for the entire record. So
Damn.
That's great.
That's
check
pretty
that
cool.
don't
Now over
underestimate
to,
me, Lauren. Don't underestimate
Oh,
me.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
not,
just
don't
kidding.
worry.
I mean, Lauren, you're the last one. Have you done vocals on a track?
Oh, this is embarrassing. Yeah, I tried to sing Daniel Bedingfield, If You're Not the One, when I was like, I don't know, maybe mid-20s or something like that for an ex-girlfriend. Didn't work out. Can't sing.
Is there a recording of this somewhere?
There may or may not be a recording of this. It was really hard to get the high notes, I'll tell you that.
I will donate my next royalty check to any charity for that recording.
It's not pretty. My vocal range is extremely limited, unfortunately, which is, I think it's God's little joke that he has on me. It's, yeah, we'll put you in music, but you won't be able to sing. You can hold a note and that's it. No connection between the notes. Very frustrating. It's
Next
very
up, friend of the
frustrating for the
show.
singers and writers that I work with when I'm saying, it should sound more like that. And they're going, how do you mean? I'm like, all right, like this. It's not going to be pretty, but I'll try to give you the idea.
They understand. Don't
They
be
get
so
it.
hard on yourself,
True.
Lauren.
It's
Seriously.
certainly not commercially viable.
I mean, there have to be bad singers to make the good singers look so good.
Here
All
to
about
help.
context. Yeah.
Here to help.
You're the reference vocal, the ref vocal, right?
You bet I can be.
I'm an excellent reference vocalist. It's on your resume.
All right, what do we got next?
Yeah, up next, Radio Dave, friend of the show. This one is called Into the Rhythm.
Back and forth and to the rhythm. 4 cents to the rhythm.
Rightio, got the idea.
Nice.
This is fantastic. I have so much to say about this record. What do you think, JB?
Oh, me first again. Well, so to me, it kind of had a dark feeling to it, which is kind of cool for some dance music. It sounds like the kind of record you'd hear, like just really making everybody jump up and down at a festival or a club gig. It's a little bit much for, just a regular rotation radio record, but
Yeah.
definitely mix show, and it's got that hands up feel for sure.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Nick?
I love it. I love Radio Dave. I like it. I've seen his sound evolve over the last year and a half or so, and I feel like he's like really honed in on a thing that's super identifiable from a sound design perspective. Like I always know it's him when we play a record, even if you didn't tell me it was him. So that's super important, and that's awesome that he's kind of nailed that. And this record stays like he does enough changes in this record where it stays interesting, but they're all related. Like the patterns are the same or they're really similar. So you recognize that it's the same track. Because I know early on when I was listening to his records, he had this problem where it would change every few sections, but each section would be very disjointed. It would almost sound like a new record, and I think he's done a really good job on this one to keep them related, but still interesting, and our favorite word, compelling, if you will.
Compelling indeed. I'm also going to add that as a just a surface listener, a person who's just kind of like half listening and trying to, how do I explain this? I think that there's two kinds of listeners in the world. There's the lean in and there's the lean back. And lean back is you're kind of just doing something else. You're checking your Instagram, that type of thing. Lean in is like literally paying strict attention to everything that's going on. And I would dare to say that 90% of all listeners are definitely lean back. They're in their car, they're doing something else. Music's kind of like a secondary thing. And the lean back listeners, you need to see if you can catch them. You need to have them to go, oh wait, what was that? That was awesome, and just see if it catches their attention. And I'd also say that you want to make sure that your song doesn't sound like it's just one long continuous song. So the positive is that this record has enough breaks in it and then comes back with rhythm, and the beat consistency is awesome. Rhythm strength's great. The bass line's awesome. Sound design's really cool. My only thinking is potentially a lot of it starts to sound the same because maybe it's the same rhythm, and just on first listen I was like, I don't think it fits into the category of if you've heard the first half minute or minute, you've heard the whole song, but how would you create even more delineation so that the second half has an extra element that wasn't in the first bit? Because all I was hearing constantly was that that growling bass line, which is awesome, but I was just hearing it all the time, and I wondered what else you could add to it to make it feel, to your point, Nick, the same and familiar, but also have something else which holds attention. And
I was waiting for like the riser that like just starts at the top of the drop on the second time around, where it's like it follows the rhythm, but that whole time you could easily go for that type of thing.
Yeah, it could be a white noise, it could be an effect, it could be like a high, like a high synth that's cut up and it's following the bass line, because there's a lot of room in the top mid area in this song. It's all very dark energy, it's all very low, bass and kick, and I think you've got a lot of space in the mix to, for argument's sake, I'm not saying a violin, but I'm saying if you played a violin, you would very clearly hear it. But if someone else walked into the room with a cello, you wouldn't hear it because it would get muddied up in the mix. So whatever fits into that area, which would be a really nice synth, like a pokey pluck, electric guitar. I think it needs to be synth and it needs to be pluckish, but there's a lot of room in the EQ for it.
A
Great
Hoover.
record.
Plucky pluck. Did you say pokey pluck?
A pokey pluck? Yeah, that's right.
Radio Dave, can your next track please be
No.
pokey pluck?
Jeez.
I don't know. Sounds
Pluck
pretty
that
good.
pokes out is what I meant, but no problem.
All right. Next track,
All right.
Mesa and Boss. This is Mesa and Boss, Stuck on Rewind.
Is there something happening to me? 'Cause I keep going under. Thinking if I dive in deep right now, then this could all be over. 'Cause I can still hear the sound. Every time you sing it, I go out of my mind. It's so down loud. Like a broken record, got me stuck on rewind, singing da 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 da. I'm singing da 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 da.
Nice. I'm gonna-
Very nice.
So, do you guys remember on that one record that I was like, it'd be cool if like you brought in the vocal halfway through the record?
Yeah.
This did that, and I think it worked really well. The only thing I'd say is, well, a couple things. So, production standpoint, really great vibe. The sign sub bass that you have is cool, but I think that it could get another layer to support it that has a little more character. Because right now it's just kind of riding mostly in the super low end, and it doesn't have anything to make it pop, so that could layer up there. Once the vocal comes in, it's really good, but then it drops out and you never tie back to it. So I feel like in the build, you could cut up a piece of it. It could happen sparsely and then throw out to reverb in that build, and it'll help marry the vocal to the track a little bit more. And then if that is an original vocalist, I don't know if it is or it isn't, but if it is, I would have them perform something else for like the second 8 of the drop that works there as like a call and response thing. The kick can slap a little harder, the drums could come up, but those are just minor mix tweaks. That's all I got.
JB?
Yeah, I mean, I liked the track. I was pleasantly surprised when the vocals came in. I was trying to figure out if I had heard what that person had sung before, if it was like, a re-singing of something, but it just sounded somehow familiar already. I love the name of the track, Stuck on Rewind. When it first started, I thought it was Stuck on Fast Forward because it was just going right out of the gate. So I thought it was a pretty good record.
Nice. I was thinking that the vocal was very much purposely dry, and it was not layered with reverb or doubles. It was trying to purposely, I think, I have to assume it was purposely made to be quite more point sourced and dry, and I have an issue with that because it's not what the a common day listener is expecting to hear, because we're so attuned to hearing vocals in a certain way for all of these last, let's say, decade. Now it sounds drastically different to what's going on, because a singer just recently said to me, who's a fantastic singer and can sing phenomenally well, Paulina. She said, even when I sing and record, I need to put a little light auto-tune over it. And I'm like, why? Why would you ever need auto-tune? Your voice is great. And she said, because the listener is expecting it, and when they don't hear it, it sounds poor. It sounds raw. It's not finished, because you're so used to it now, even if it's light. And even live shows, even someone like Florence and the Machine, phenomenal vocalist, she's running like a 5% auto-tune across her live shows ever since she played Coachella. So it's just so normal that it's expected. So when I hear something this bare, without doubles, without stacks, without reverb, I'm like, wow, that's it doesn't sound glued into the track again. It sort of sounds like it's trying to purposely be heroed, and I don't know if it's a good idea and it will sound as musically enjoyable if it was made to be more wet. And a little bit of white noise effects throughout the record would also help it as well. Apart from that, it's really, really strong.
We just talked about this on Finish My Track about an hour and a half ago with Lena Leon, because we were saying how, especially synthesized music, which is like the purest of pure tuning when you have a synth versus you have live instrumentation and so on and so forth in other genres, that's a little more forgiving. When you have guitars and live piano and all this stuff that isn't dead on with the tuning, the vocal doesn't, I mean, it obviously has to be in key, but it doesn't have to be locked like it does when you perform to a synth. So yeah, something to consider there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that before. See, I learn new things. Nicholas Dietrich with the Super Coach comments.
Before I forget, quick shout out to Loom Cube, who is lighting me right now and is providing all of us with some lighting. They make a really awesome product, and if you guys are looking for lighting, obviously definitely check them out. Loom Cube.
Yeah, my girlfriend Brooklyn swears by it. She's had one for a couple of years. It's the small one on a little freestanding tripod. Loom Cube, very nice.
Nick, I've always wondered why you're looking so pretty on these live streams, and now we know.
A lot of sun and good lighting.
What's it called again?
Sun? Very good. He has a sun. He has like a sunlight directly above his head.
Is it bright? Can you show us?
No, it's I have a hi-hat like right here that shines down.
Really?
But I mean literal sunshine. Like I spend time outside in the sun.
Oh, time outside. What's that like? JB can tell
What
us.
do you mean?
Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to hide from the sun right now.
Oh wow, that's bright. Austin, what do you think of the
thanks.
song?
Oh, very nice. I mean, I can't complain about it. I thought it was maybe a tad too much. Like it was a tad repetitive, but for what it was worth, those things hit hard. So I could probably come back or hear it in a festival. But it wouldn't be my favorite track. Let's give it a 5 out of 10.
5's 5. Okay. Is
that okay with you?
5.5 just to beat you.
I mean, what would you give it?
I'd probably give it a solid 6.
Solid 6. 6-0, they call it.
I think
Going
that
for a
with
6.7.
Whoa.
Oof. Wow.
Well, that's
You're out there.
pathetic. I'll just go with 6.
Okay.
Average. Okay, so we got an average of 6 here. 6.2
Average
maybe.
is 6. All right, what do you got next, Austin?
I don't know if you can hear this in the background. This was a kind of a smaller audio file, but I'll see what I can do. Let's max it out. It's Chemical with 2 Ks. It's called Night and Day.
Audio.
All right, Austin. Austin, why don't you kick this one off?
Yeah. Austin's muted. Wow.
Austin is muted.
My bad. That was my own duty. I would say just a word to the wise. If you're submitting music, to maybe hard limit a sample. This is specifically for the show. Quick mix and master, it says. So I knew that they meant to have it played here. And just if we're gonna do SoundCloud, which we prefer having SoundCloud on the show. A little easier to mix in and out of, but overall, for what it's worth, I like it. It's not mastered, but maybe more vocal. After that first drop, I kind of was seeking for it, and I was literally scrubbing through the track here while we were listening to it. So, and I couldn't find it, so it was just a little vocal. I wish there was a tad more, maybe a verse or two.
Yeah. What do you think, JB?
Yep. It was pretty sparse on the vocals. I did also kind of want a little bit more of that to sort of round out the whole track. But I'll tell you, I am a sucker for that kind of keyboarding every time, the super stabby sort of sound. That gets me. It just gets me every time. So I liked it quite a bit. But a little more vocals would definitely put it over the top.
Yeah, I love the twang. There's like a little twangy kind of... I don't know what it would be called, Nick, but honestly, it just sort of sounds like a funk guitar note that was being played on top of the synth. So you kind of get that wow, wow, kind of like
I like
almost
that.
a
I wanted
wah-wah
more.
effect.
I wanted
Totally.
more, like it to be like just. It felt like they went to like the 60%, and I wanted the 90% of it.
Oh, really? Wow. Wind it all the way up, huh?
It had character, but like I think it could have gone further. But that said, it was super cool. Had a really good bounce to it.
I also like the vocal that they used. It sounds like it was just a splice sample, and that's kind of like what you get, and there's no more available, let's say. That's probably why there wasn't more vocal throughout the record. But it was very interesting how it was manipulated. I thought it was really clever about the sound design that they used to process the vocal and sort of mess with it in an interesting way. So it sounded like it was... I don't know how else to describe it, except when a person does that and it's different every time, it's not the same copy and paste. It sounds like effort's been put into it and love's been put into it, and it makes it sound more highly produced. It like elevates the production value. And there was some small little sounds in there which could have been good for headphones. I call it headphone candy. Stuff which is just very subtle that you more or less feel as opposed to hearing, but you'll notice it more on headphones. And I think that makes the whole production feel elevated. So go and take it to a vocalist, get someone to vocal over it, and then you probably got yourself a really great basis for a record.
There you go.
Would you say it's your demo of the day, Lorne?
Nope.
Anybody?
Nope.
Because I saw Bianca BIA_NCA22 from Twitch said demo of the day, and I wanted to ring this bell.
Yeah, well, you have the demo of the day, Bill. It's so
we have the demo of the day, Bill. If you really want it.
Not for me. It's for Bianca.
No, I think Bianca was referring to a previous song.
There it is.
I'm almost convinced she was into it in a previous record.
There's my.
But listen. Let's be fair. This record is really, really good, really strong. And if it was sent in as a demo, I'd be like, "This is great. Let's work on finishing it." So it's super high quality. There's nothing in it that needs deleting. There's nothing in it which is bad or wrong. It's great, really cool. It sounds like someone's put a big effort in. So, we're all. I think we're all a fan of it. It's just let's finish it up. And some of these demos, they're not sent in as finals. We know that, and we also know that sometimes people just need a little bit of, hey, I'm stuck. What should I do? And the answer is finish it. It's great.
By the way, if you're just watching, this is Dope or Nope. We are here at 3 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. You are welcome to drop your demos at dopeornopemusic.com. Got the link in there. Drop us your demo, and we will listen to it.
Yep.
On to the next one.
Yes, sir. Next up, this is Uber Fat and She Folly and City Lights.
All
She
right.
Folly. I was just in a Twitter Spaces with her yesterday.
Oh, nice.
You'll feel alive again. Always shining, pulling me away. City lights keep calling me. Always find me at the end of the day. City dreams keep paving my way. Always shining, always shining, always shining. Keep finding me. The moon is shining through windows all around. It lights desire to be found. No sense in fighting, beaters you play along. Cities unite to a song. Mystery of night keeps me in a daze. Blindly drawn to life while the music plays. Hours till the breaking of the sun. What a wondrous time, all our dreams combine. Strangers dance tonight as one. Lovers take a chance, twilight stirs romance. Evening time has just begun. When do we
Go ahead, Nubs.
land? The world's in our hands. You feel alive again.
I have something to say about the drop. It feels like it's got a something about the synth on it. I don't.
This is
quite
one
know
of those
which-
that has
Hold on.
a lot of cool parts. Lauren, are you muted?
No, not muted.
Just
Work.
on my end. Can you guys hear Lauren?
Well, I'm not really normally meant to be heard, which is understandable.
Yeah,
Now
I can hear him.
you. Now I can
God
hear
dang
you.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, Austin, can you turn the song down a bit? It's really loud in the background. I would just say that the drop, the synths and the drop, I feel like I need to choose between the two. I couldn't figure out how to. My instinct would be to remove one and feel if the other one was enough to lead it, and then if not, then flip the other one, and if not, if you have to keep both of them, then the long synth that's got the really long sustain on it, try to shorten it to make it feel a little bit more stabby. That was my instinct. The vocals, neither here nor there. It was good, not great. But the drop was really good, and I think there's a way of improving it, but I'm not quite sure how.
JB, what'd you think?
I thought it was pretty solid. I didn't mind the vocals at all. I don't know. I'm a sucker for a female vocal, I think, just overall. So
Me too.
Yeah.
But that song really just sort of takes you a bunch of different places all at once. I was like, more than one time, I like had to sort of like look at the screen and like, is this really song really going here? So I think that it went to some unexpected places for me that I found fairly delightful, and I liked the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
JB, I'd be curious your opinion because it does jump through some things that normally probably wouldn't happen in a dance record, where it's like multiple different styles and things like that, which I know traditionally can be
Right.
challenging for radio. But so it's fascinating to me that you did find that stuff interesting. So are there any examples that come to mind of other records like that, or like did you find on your end that things like that are fine, they do work at radio, and it's okay?
I mean, I think it's mostly on a case-by-case basis. You know, the song has to have the it factor in order for you to sort of put up with all the different places that it goes and all the different styles and things that it offers. So I can't really think of another song just off the top of my head that sort of reminds me of this situation. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'll think of it and I'll instant message you or something.
No, all good. I liked the track. I thought it had a lot of really cool moments. It's one of those where I'm like, you threw the kitchen sink at the record. Now let's see what we can take away where it still works. Or
Yeah, right.
Let's pull back on some of these ideas and see if the track still feels glued together.
Yeah.
Also, the bass and the kick were really heavy, and so if you back off some of the sub on both of those, you'll get a little more room to push the other instruments up.
Yeah, I should also clarify that I didn't not like the vocal. I think the vocal's actually really quite good. I just thought the production of it, maybe it was like either too much or it didn't have supporting instruments, or there was a long section of it that felt like it was that the song hadn't continued when it could have. The point was made, sort of thing, with the vocal section. It didn't need to be 8, it could have been 4, that type of thing. So I think it was probably more of an arrangement around the vocal sections as opposed to the quality of the vocal. The quality of the vocal was actually really good. If someone had said to me that it was linear, I'd be like, oh, yep, that sounds right, because it's actually that good. So
Well, I thought you just said it wasn't as good, like it was mediocre or something.
No, I was specific. The reason why I just took that time then was to say that I felt like the production around where the vocal was what I needed to clarify. The vocal quality again is great. It's the I think that there was a really large section of it, which was kind of, the track wasn't moving and I thought the vocal's not enough to carry it. So then you would put in doubles and you'd put in some harmonies and it would fill it up, or put some more music around it to fill in the gap. So it just didn't, instead of there being 8 bars of vocals at one particular point, I think it was after the first drop, it could have done with half of that.
Yeah, I
would
enjoyed the
agree.
message over the actual vocal, the person. I appreciated the cadence and the style and like the format of the track and all that, but it was just the singer wasn't quite right for me. Nick, you said you were hanging with her on Twitter a while back. I think she's not, like, you compared her to Linny. I don't see that. I think she's not as good as Linny, or at least in the formats that Linny sings.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the purpose of the lyrics. Like I felt it all went together. Too much overall happening in the track. My humble opinion.
Didn't even notice that there was lyrics. Interesting. I better listen out for that next time.
What do you mean?
I'm hopeless with lyrics. I don't ever.
I am
notice
too. I didn't even pay
I don't know.
attention to the lyrics. I didn't catch a word because I'm that clueless to lyrics sometimes.
Yeah.
We said this before, I think, right? Didn't we have a quiz? Like, who cares about the
Yes.
content of the actual song?
Yeah, we had a quiz about it, and I remember I got a demo sent to me by a trusted source, and I just, without even listening to it, I brought in 3 interns into the room who happened to be all female, and we listened, and at the end I was like, that was sick, and and I was explaining, and then one of them said, no, I didn't really like the lyrics, and the other one goes, yeah, the lyrics weren't good, and then the other one said, no, the song was good, but the lyrics weren't good, and I was like, what do you mean there was lyrics?
Yeah.
How did I miss the lyrics entirely? I just didn't even know that. I don't hear them. So, yeah, anyway. Nice that there's someone here in the group, Austin, who's able to catch the lyrics and the messaging. Thank you.
I'm not the only one. I mean, you guys, U2's your favorite band, Lauren. Of course you like lyrics. Come on.
Yeah, eventually, maybe not on first listen, but I'll hear them on second or third listen if I pay attention.
I would agree with that. Eventually I hear lyrics, but it's not the first thing on the totem pole for me when I listen to a song.
Yeah. Very nice.
Producer's ears.
Fair is fair. Okay,
That's a
up next.
producer problem.
Up next is Rob Mark with a mark over the A in the mark. Rob Mark with 1K. This is called Never Let It Go. Demo, he indicates. So to Lauren's point earlier, these aren't finished records, folks. These are in the works. They're whips. Work in Prague. It's called Never Let It Go.
Maybe I'm losing control.
Where's the sound effect, Nick?
Hey, Nick, do you got a little bell for us, please? Oh, he's on mute. Amazing. Great.
Ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding, ding,
got
ding.
him on
Oh,
mute.
no.
Hey.
You guys get the demo of the day on that one. I can't give it to him because the vocal is overused. I've heard it a million times thanks to Splice.
Yes.
But great vibes.
Well, for those of us who haven't heard it a million times, it sounds great, except it's a little bit overused within the track. JB, what do you think?
I'm unfamiliar with that vocal, so I kind of liked it. I guess I'm not running in the right circles to hear that vocal all the time. But it's, reminded me a little bit of like a Deborah Cox record almost, like they could have used her vocal there for that.
Yep.
And, knowing Deborah, she probably would have written some verses and a chorus for it as well. So I really liked it. I was jamming to it the whole time.
It's kind of awesome that you know Deborah Cox well enough to know what she would and shouldn't do on writing. It's great. We're going to have to hit you up and get Deborah Cox on the next Disco Fries record.
Let's go.
I don't know if she would do it. I just said she would sound good doing it.
Okay, fair enough. What was I going to say about it? It felt like something around early 2000s, like 2005 Freemasons, UK Freemasons. It felt like disco-y, just pre-EDM, when everything was all about synth and bass line and not compressing the absolute crap out of your record until you can't hear it anymore. It was great, really good. I thought it was an awesome disco, like high-energy disco record. So, but I'm listening to it through what is very much a flat, non-dynamic demo, imagining it being cleaned up and mastered and finishmotrack.com and things like that, just making it really, really tasty and expensive. But really good record. I really liked it.
I love the Freemasons reference.
Yeah.
Nice
Me
one.
too.
Yeah, really
All
cool.
right.
Okay,
What do we
18, what else
got?
you got?
Or as they'd call it back in the day, pure dance. I got to get JP's opinion on this. What was your... I mean, when you started in radio, was pure dance a thing? Or was that not yet?
What is that?
Radio was barely a thing when I started. So barely a thing. They were still running on tubes when I first went on the air.
Wow.
So a pure dance. Yeah, I do remember that that moniker being used quite a bit. And to Lauren's point, real quick, about what he said about that sort of early 2000s feel, that's probably why I like it so much, just because it sort of reminds me of those times, the pre-EDM boom. So yeah, I don't think I answered your question, Austin.
No, I was just trying to bring that up because it's just a funny word that happened.
Pure dance.
Yeah, Pure Dance, and I think it had something to do with ex-program directors of BPM back in the day that, you know, went on to other things and then realized that BPM had become this, and not just BPM, like in general, the industry had been, you know, evolving into a certain new sound, and especially in the States, and it wasn't really about I would call it pure dance. I like pure dance in that context, like the female vocals, like the Kim Sazi era, like old school Nervous records, Ultra, of course, Robbins. Like I miss that sound, and if I had to, I think they nailed it when they call it pure dance. But I can see other programmers getting like kind of upset at that, saying like, "What? We're not playing pure dance." You know, it's just Hardwell has he's EDM, so we're not calling it that anymore. But I appreciated that conversation back in the day. It's like, we're pure dance, and we're the true chart toppers over here. And they're like, we don't want to touch that terminology of being pure, saying it's pure or not pure. But just a little small thing about dance radio that always stuck out at me is like a station's literally calling itself pure compared to, I think, probably crossover, you know, tracks that came from hip hop or pop that got remixes. A lot of the times ended up in dance format. So there's always like some sort of argument. Like, who did we see? We saw it like a month ago. There was an Instagram discussion. Lauren, I think you brought it up on the show, where it was like the terminology EDM versus like club music. And like house was really the best way to approach the genre and talk about it. And programmers are like, no, it's EDM. We call it EDM because it encapsulates it better. It's just easier to talk about. And then like all the comments are like, oh, here we go, radio programmer, marketing speak. And it's like, you know, people take their sides on that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, these are things that only our world cares about, because once you step outside of it, it's all just dance music to the regular consumer.
Yeah.
They don't care about any of this. But it is fascinating to talk about.
Yeah, it's kind of like in a bubble. We're all talking and screaming at each other for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I don't have any comments. Nice. Moving on. Only that I don't want to open a can of worms. However, I've never heard the term pure dance ever.
Maybe it was an American thing.
I think it must have been.
Maybe a US radio thing.
Australia at all. Pure dance is not a thing in Australia. It's either dance or it wasn't.
I was just going through old school imaging.
Yeah, and,
right. It was used quite often in like 2009 or 2009, 2010. Right before the boom. People kind of classified themselves in their format and said, "We're not this."
I can understand. My understanding from Australia is that David Guetta and Kelly Rowland, "When Love Takes Over," was JB, keep me honest here, but it was kind of like the first commercial, massive dance record that hit pop radio and all the Kiss FMs of the whole nation and really took off. And pop radio were like, what's this called? And people were like, we were like, it's called dance music. Oh, wow, this is incredible. And then they started playing it everywhere. And then the Katy Perrys of the world come across and sort of like took all of our producers and got them to send them beats. And then they brought in their multi-million-dollar writing teams and vocalists and, and everything like that and took it off. And that was kind of like crossover. So I can imagine, if with a gun to my head, I could imagine that the concept of pure dance is a station like KNHC sort of saying, well, no, this is not dance music because Kiss FM has owned the David Guetta and Kelly Rowland song. We're talking about pure dance, meaning it's dance not designed to be pop, basically. Does that feel close to right?
Yeah, I mean, everything you said sounds pretty close to right. I was just wondering, though, did David Guetta work with the Black Eyed Peas before that Kelly Rowland track came out? Because he made a lot of inroads with Black Eyed Peas as well, getting that music onto the radio.
Yeah, I think you're right. He did. In fact, it was the hybrid of hip hop and electronic that kind of broke through first as hip dance, I guess, hip hop dance.
It's
and
dance.
then he came through with his. I mean, he basically ripped off Destiny's Child. I mean, it was the first time that someone not Beyonce came out of Destiny's Child and did something. So it was a real big moment, and it worked. And here we are, years later. Everyone's trying to replicate it still. And there's no
Austin,
shame in any of it.
you probably know this maybe from Spotify, but the last chart, and I was just trying to look, the last chart I saw was that dance music only made up like 4% of song consumption in the US. Is that accurate?
Another great conversation, because it was always about, I mean, once you get into corporate world, all they care about is bottom line. So you're gonna, not that they don't care about music, but it's like, you know, it's soulless at the end of the decision making process at a lot of these companies. And that's not against them. It's not a knock against them. It's just the nature of the world in general. You know, once you have something as a product, even DJs have this problem, and bookers and, you know, agents and stuff have to go back and forth on this all the time. Is it art or is it money? You know, sort of situation. But I never liked that conversation about electronic, because, you know, once Ableton came out and Pro Tools, you know, was easy to purchase and bedroom production was a thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we're saying like electronic music is not a great term, because it really is not just bleeding into, it's created hip hop and pop and some forms of country and R&B, and so dance kind of like spread its wings, just not as it's a bigger conversation. So anyway, I always get pissed off at that back in the day when they'd say like, yeah, it was a smaller percentage, like you know, Guetta and Afrojack only really are the one, and Avicii back, you know, they were the ones that held the torch, and everything else was paled in comparison to consumption. You know, they would find the record on a pop playlist or a crossover list, and then they would continue listening to pop for the most part. But people that made inroads into being a dedicated festival goer and a club, you know, scene person were fewer than people that just took the track as, you know, candy and moved about their day. So it's a good conversation though, because like a lot of, like, I mean, you guys know a lot of ghostwriters for pop and hip hop are old DJs.
Yeah. Barbara Streisand's manager famously said, people don't know what they like what they know. And that's so true when it comes to radio programming. It's like, do we take a risk on this thing, or do we just play something that the audience will know or like or will feel familiar, and therefore trying to change, trying to get change from the inside is really tough. It almost needs to come from the outside, and then the radio programmers get to point to a cultural phenomenon that's happening around them, like a TikTok thing, and go, okay, we'll start supporting it and create this thing. I'm quite sure Billie Eilish didn't come from radio. She would have popped before radio picked it up and go, oh, this is amazing, or this is cool. There's no way they would have taken her off the bat and started swinging without there being some kind of external momentum. And I think that's true for any drastic change. And dance music is the bleeding edge, in my opinion, of creativity for something that's metered. And dance music very much is on the bleeding edge of technology. A lot of the people who make music are confessed nerds and tech geeks, as we all are. And I think that there's a real youth and vibe and energy to the fact that music is being created as in a really new way, and people are pushing boundaries, and no one is trying to make the same record that they made over and over. They're always like, I need to do something different. I was out with Don Diablo last night, and he was saying, I can't make the song that I just made ever. If something's really successful, a label will say, do something like that again, and I can't. I have to keep progressing, and I respect that amongst all electronic music producers. But radio, they need to sort of, to your point, Austin, go with the numbers, go with the feedback, go with the amount of time spent listening, all that TSL kind of stuff, and it's all really important. So anyway, that's it. So
JB
a lot.
Was Seattle concerned with TSL and other commercial stations? Like
Not really. I think that the management knows that as long as we make our fundraising goals and our audience estimate numbers are looking good, that we're on the right track. So, so not as much as other radio stations. Thankfully, we had the freedom to sort of step out on things that normally maybe wouldn't have made it onto the radio anywhere else. So no, it's not really about the ratings. It's more about the fundraising for KNHC.
That's a relief.
Yeah, well, it's what made it such a great place to work, right? As long as you're raising the money and the listeners believe in what you're doing, then you're doing the right thing by them. So that's our customers.
The way radio should be.
Fact.
Very nice.
Yep.
What
Cool,
a great
well,
All
conversation.
right.
Do you want
We
another
got,
record here or call it
let's-
quits? What do you guys think?
Let's do one last one if you guys are good with it.
Yeah.
got
Got another one, Austin?
Yes, sir. This is Digital Nature Burning. Crank it up. Let me know if that's too loud.
Yeah, my body's burning up. Burning up. Burning up. Burning up. Wind it 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 up. Turn it up. Wind 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 it up. Yeah, my body's burning up, 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 up. Burning up. Burning up.
You know, the worst part about this record is having to fade it out.
Demo of the day right here.
Hey, coming soon on Dimmark/Lift Off Recordings.
It's a nice one.
This is really nice. What a great record. So beautiful. Great vibe. What do you think there, JB?
I thought it had a lot to offer. That weird little sampling of the female voice that came in, repeating really a bunch of times and then sort of like slowing down. Totally unexpected. I was like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it really had a lot of those moments for me in it, just where I was just like, wow, they're really, I mean, like they're going for it. So yeah, I'll concur that this is the demo of the day.
Yeah, there we go. Wow. Woo.
Ding.
Austin, is that your demo of the day as well?
No, I had that other one.
All right.
This is
You can
close
have a second one.
You're allowed.
Get two of
Yeah.
them. Oh, it doesn't make a demo of the day then. Day
Okay.
2.
That was good. That was really, really strong for me. I really loved it. That was a really
Yeah,
enjoyable
love it.
listen.
Nice one to end on.
To, like switch on a chill station of any description, and that song come up, I'd be like, perfect. Just the right amount of tempo, and without being too overwhelming, but just still having like something going on instead of it being too sleepy. Really good. Great
The
bass
build
line.
was too much for that scenario for me. It would have
Well,
thrown
then you
me
just
off
run a low pass over it. It's fine. Don't worry, I'll get it fixed before it comes out.
in the car.
Yeah.
Hey, send this to the radio station. We need to swap that out.
Yeah.
This build.
True.
Love it. I have nothing to say about this record.
This is
Fire.
great.
No changes.
Yeah.
As is, eh?
As is.
Send it in, boss.
Yep. On it.
Nice.
Love it. That's really good. Okay, well, this has been really awesome 90 minutes. I have to thank you so much, JB, for coming on the show with us and hanging out. Your opinions have been so great. Really, thank you for it.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
JB.
you for having me. Absolutely, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and thanks very much for getting the memo on the T-shirt as well. That's really
You
helpful.
bet.
Yep,
Go
really
Sounders.
appreciate. Oh, it's
Nice.
Adidas as well. Very nice. Oh, sorry, Adidas for the Americans.
What'd you call it?
Adidas.
Adidas?
Yes, it's called Adidas. You want to know why? Because the guy invented it. His name was Adi Dassler. Adidas. Weird, huh? Adi Dassler, and his brother invented Puma, as we would
Puma.
say, but Puma for you guys.
Yeah, I heard a whole podcast about those two. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, so interesting, isn't it? So, anyway, great shirt and great opinions, and thank you very much for them. We always are really excited to get someone's opinion that ranges across different moments in dance music and how it is now and how it just was just before the last wave and what it was before. And to your point, some of the things you were saying about around the 2000s, we think it's going to come back because, 25-year-old, it was 5 years old, so let's go again, sort of thing. That Freemason sound I hope comes through one more time, and we've always wanted to know when Nick and myself or anyone else sends a song in to Kane HC in Seattle, your station of many moons, what you really thought of it, and it's really nice to understand how you process and how you go, this is good, or this was unexpected, or this was nice, and so that's really helpful. So thank you very much for sitting in with us and giving us that opinion, and you are welcome back anytime.
Awesome.
Yes,
This is
thank you so
fun.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And Nick, thank you for the banter as always. Us
as
two
always.
production heads go head to head every time. I love it. It's great.
Well, on the note of Hess, and in honor of Hess, and of
Yes.
course, big shout out to Hess and Raquel, even though they couldn't be here today.
Yes.
What does everybody have going on this weekend? Lauren, let's start with you.
I'm going to Tennessee.
Wow.
Didn't see that coming, did you? Nor did
No.
I. Yeah, Brooklyn's got a show on in Tennessee that she has to run on the weekend, and she's like, why don't you come to Tennessee because you've never been there? And I'm like, all right. So I don't know anything about Tennessee whatsoever, but I'm very excited to learn. So I'm probably gonna put something up in on my Instagram, like, can someone hit me up and tell me what to do or where to go or who to see or what I guess what is there to explore in Tennessee.
I
So
will
I'm very
send you some
excited about
stuff off chat. I will send you
Yeah.
some things. It's awesome there. Are you going to, where are you going, Nashville or outside of Nashville or what?
Yeah, Nashville. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Austin, what's up in your world this weekend?
Oh, I'm not going to Nashville, but I've been there. I used to live in Clarksville, north of Nashville.
You know where you're going? You're going to Stashville.
Hey, I thought you'd never ask. I would love to go.
He's
I
getting
would love
himself
to
ready
go.
for Mustache Mondays.
Yeah, we got to trim it up. No, I got some irrigation issues, so I'm gonna fix that front lawn, and then in 2 weeks I'll be heading to Miami for Juicy Music Group 2.0 launch with Robbie Rivera at La Rouge in Miami. So be there or be square,
Nice.
as they say.
Nice.
Very cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Peter in the chat,
JB.
he knows what's going.
That sounds awesome.
And
JB,
JB, what are you doing for your next? When it's not even weekend because your week hasn't started.
Right.
So what are you doing for your time?
What is a weekend? I've just been catching up with a lot of friends, doing a lot of projects around the house this weekend and this week. It's been super hot here, so I'm going to try and get me and the dogs down to the water somehow and just do the Seattle summer thing.
Oh, beautiful. That's great. That's really awesome.
Nice.
Have a great time in Nashville, though. That sounds
Thank you.
also kind of fun. So
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I've come to the Netherlands. I see someone say yes. We're coming for ADE. It's gonna be awesome. For sure.
So we're gonna raid into Mr. Sir Liquid Todd today.
Oh yeah.
He's live right now, and that's where we're headed right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention what I'm doing this weekend. I'm not doing
Yeah.
that much, but I've never been to a live golf tournament to spectate. I
Wow.
imagine it's going to be boring, but I did get 2 free tickets to this live golf tournament here in Jersey, so I'm taking my dad, and we're probably going to have some beer, and that's how we'll enjoy our day. So
I love
Nice.
it.
anyway, that's what I'm doing. Here we go into Liquid
Alright.
Todd. Tune in every Thursday, dopeornotemusic.com. 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here next Thursday, and I think the full crew should be here next week. So here you go.
Take care.
See you over at
Thanks, everybody.
Liquid
Thank you
Todd's
very
channel.
much. Thanks again, JB.
Later.
you bet. Take care.
Cheers. See you.
Later. Austin's got it in the stream.
Sounds right.